Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning. Today is January 7th, 2026. We get together most weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Central. Screen should be shared. So, this is our 509 South Pacific Daily Zoom. Our website is also shown in the background, 509pacific.org. We'll use that periodically through our discussion today. We have, of course, a normal phone line that's answered live and it's listed at the bottom of the website. But for a lot of you prefer the tech support line. This is the normal number here. But the tech support line is 903-347-8042. Past Zoom trainings are up on YouTube. As a 501c3, we have a three-part mandate that dictates what we do and how we do it. The first of which is to improve financial literacy. I think we're going to do a good job of that today, but there are other resources available on the website. We give away free shelf corps to entrepreneurs. So at the middle of 509 Pacific is the information about the shelf corps right here. And then thirdly, we facilitate the transfer of money to clients. So we help clients legally and ethically qualify for funding to start or grow a business. And that's frankly what most people want, but these other two elements are important for the delivery of that. If you have any questions, comments, concerns anytime, feel free to type those into the Q&A. It's like a chat box of Zoom. Today, our agenda is why pretty much, maybe not 100%, but why pretty much everyone that you educate, which ties into our financial literacy here, pretty much everyone that you educate about the free funding proposal, why they should participate. So it's not too good to be true, but and I forget who said this. I think it might have been Carla, but forgive me who said this, is that you almost would think that they're not too intelligent. No, I don't want to say stupid, but it doesn't make sense for them to not participate. So if you educate properly, you don't have to twist someone's arm, you don't have to persuade them, you don't have to make up untruths, but it almost is unreasonable for them to not participate. And of course, by them participating, let's go ahead and go through that. So, what is it that they get? They meaning the prospect. Because assuming that you're an affiliate or considering becoming an affiliate, if not, you can become one here on the website, free and easy. So, the proposition that we're talking about is here at the bottom of the page. How you and we can help people get a free funding proposal. Well, it starts with pre-qualifying your prospects. And I know often we talk about don't pre-qualify, but there is one pre-qualifying question that you should always start with. So pre-qualification. Who can tell me using the Q&A, it's like a chat function of Zoom, what do you think is the one question that we should always start with before we spend our time, our energy, our effort in educating someone about a free funding proposal? What is the pre-qualification question? It's not how old are you or what race or what gender or where do you live, how tall are you, how smart are you, what's your credit? None of that matters. What is the one pre-qualification question we should always start with? And Ernest got it right. And it's actually right here. You can even see the cheat. Do you need funding to start or grow a business? That is the question. Now, if you want to word it differently, you can, but I think it works pretty well. Do you need funding? Now, the other twist that I think Amanda and Corinthians, some of you use, would be instead of that, let me space it over. The other approach would be, do you know anyone needing funding and then to start or grow a business? So you can either approach them directly Do you need funding to start or grow a business? Or if you want to soften it up, we'll call it the Amanda model. Hey, do you know anyone needing funding to start or grow a business? So this is how we should start. If they don't say yes to this, talk about the weather, talk about the football playoffs, talk about something else. But they're not looking for a solution to a problem that we're trying to offer. So we need to start with this. So once we're past that, so now let's assume that they say yes, either yes, they need funding to start or grow a business, or they know someone. They're going to respond yes, and then look at you or pause and wait for you to kind of follow up. So that's really where you have the guidance right here on the page to pull from. So I'm going to even copy and paste it over to our note tab. And what you typically want to do is hit them with the highlights because they're going to need a little bit more information to decide to move forward. I don't think that they're going to be able to connect the dots if you just ask them, hey, do you need funding to start or grow a business? And then all of a sudden you say, okay, fill out this form. That's too big of a leap. So what we need to say is, well, did you know that you can get a free funding proposal? The way that it works is that so we're going through this list, which you always have reference to right here on the website. There's no minimum credit score, so everyone gets at least one funding offer. There's no upfront cost. You don't have to worry about that nonsense. When we get you offers, there's not going to be any hard inquiries. It's just a soft inquiry to get you qualified. No, you don't have to worry about a minimum time in business. Even startups can qualify. And even we work with people that don't even have a business yet that's wanting to form or start a business. Number five, as I mentioned, everyone's going to get at least one offer, but most people will get multiple offers. You can stack those, and those offers can add up to 50, 100, 150, 250,000 or more. We'll have to see what you qualify for. From that, number six, you get to pick the offers you want, decline those that you don't. So you don't take any bad deals. You don't take anything that's not up to your specifications. And then commonly you'll have people say, well, but my credit's not so good. Hey, don't worry about that. Everyone's going to get at least one offer, and that's true. From this, everyone is guaranteed funding. That's true. As you know, I think you should know, everyone's guaranteed a minimum of 100,000. And if your personal credit's an issue, one of the resources that we have that's free for grant participants is to have our legal team actually help you address the derogatory items. With that being said, of course, not all sources of capital look at personal credit anyway. So we start with the pre-qualification, either direct or we'll call it the indirect version. And then we need to be able to very succinctly help them understand the highlights. So from that, then we're probably ready to do what we would call a trial close. Would you like to get your offers today? And then you could word it different. Would you like to go ahead and see what you qualify for? Would you like to go ahead and move forward and get some funding? You can spin it however you want, but we are going to need to pivot to a call to action. So, and I'll create a space there just to show separation and content. So then at that point, each of you have a link. You want them to go to your link. How do you get a link? It's free. You become an affiliate right here. You fill this out, doesn't cost anything now or ever. You're going to get an email that's an onboarding email, and it's going to have your temporary link. So you're going to start with a temporary link, and then once you have submitted your first deal, you get your first commission, then we'll give you a permanent link. Well, why do we do that? Well, it takes us time, effort, and money to create permanent links. We want to see that you can do at least one deal. You're still paid off the first deal. So all of you should have your link. If you don't have your link, you definitely need to text and say, where the hell is the link to my landing page? So then now, I think what separates the higher performers from the lower performers is how we help them apply, how we engage with them. So at this point, there's two options. You can either be proactive or you can be passive. And some of you will want to do one or the other, but certainly proactive would be the way to get almost everyone to do it. So once we've pre-qualified with the initial question, direct or indirect, we hit them with some highlights. Now we want to go ahead and get them to engage in getting their funding offers. The proactive is to walk them through the application. So what happens is when you become an affiliate, you get a landing page. That landing page is going to look like fundingproposal.org. And so if you're there with them, you could pull up your phone or your iPad. If you're not with them, you could text them your link, and it's going to bring them to a page that looks just like this, just like this. This is how they're going to enter into the system. So could you be passive? Let's pull back up the screen. So if you wanted to be passive, you would just give them your link and then I guess go do something else. Or the more proactive is walk them through the application. So let's assume that you're not face to face with them. So you text them the link while you're on the phone with them. And then you say, "Hey, Charles, did you get it?" And Charles says, "Yeah." And then you'd say, "Well, Charles, can you click on it?" And Charles would say, "Yeah." And it's going to come up with this page. So now we're going to go help Charles fill it out. We want to be on the phone. If you want to do the proactive way, you want to be on the phone with them while they're filling it out. Now, I know if you sent them the link, you can't see what they're putting in, but it's not very complicated, right? So let's go ahead and put in some test information. So test one, test two, 555, 555, 5555. Now, of course, you're not going to make up bullshit information. You would be getting it from the client. An email, let's say it's support@businessparalegalcorp.com. Now, on the first one, you need to list referred by. So, for instance, referred by Eric Boone or whomever, your name, of course. Once you had your first deal, you have your own landing page and everything will be linked to you. You're getting a general use one initially. But so if you're on the phone with them or with them proactively and they fill this out, they're going to have to check this box and then they click the purple button at the bottom. We've already put in this information. We've used that template number before, but we can go ahead and actually let's change the number to one that's not a duplicate. There we go. So bam, what happens? Bam, it brings up the application immediately. Now I know it's going to text them, and when it texts them, it's going to ask them to type yes so they can receive further text, and then we'll drip mark it to them. So all that's fine, but this is the moment we want to seize. You're on the phone or you're with them. They filled out the landing page, so they're linked to you. Now let's help them fill out the proposal application right now rather than later. It's a very simple form, and the top half is business information. The bottom half is personal, what we call key person. Anytime you see these little stars by a field, it means it's required. Well, there are no stars at the top. So what does that mean? None of the top is required. So let's say that they don't have a business. Will this still work? Absolutely. They would just leave everything blank on the top, fill out the bottom. Oh no, they have a business, but they don't have all the information. Fine, they can fill out what they do have. The more information we have, the more lender matches we can create. But at a minimum, all we need is the key person information because we have funding offers there. Of course, if they have a current business, then the more information that they submit, the more funding offers we'll have. But again, if they don't have a business at all or they don't have any of this information with them, what you want to do is guide them through the process. Don't push them, but don't let excuses get in the way. Let's say you're going through this and they get down to the EIN that's, oh shit, I don't have the EIN memorized. I'm gonna have to wait. No, 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 no. Just leave it blank. We can plug it in later. So get whatever you can. Definitely everything on the bottom needs to be full and accurate, but they should always have that. But on the business information, it's very forgiving. So they fill that out and then it will get submitted in. And then within 24 hours, we're going to send them their offers. And so those offers are available to them. They're pre-qualified for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 different offers. They pick whichever ones they want. That funding goes into their account. You're paid your 5%. And then at that point, then we work with them on the formula for funding, which we've talked about several times. So let's talk about the process steps. So first, we get them funding offers. They accept what we call first tranche offers. Then we build out their loan package for the large capital raise. Now, it's certainly possible that off of that app I just showed you, that we're actually able to get the entire amount of capital raise that they want. That's possible. And we see that happen, but that's not the norm. Normally, they need our help in building out their loan package, but that happens after they have their offers, after they've accepted their first tranche. So they have money in their pocket, and everybody gets at least one offer. So they've got funded, you've got paid. Now we go build for the larger capital raise. And we've talked about the funding, the formula for funding, which is E plus the three C's equals a fundable business. So we'll work with them individually based upon their circumstances of what it's going to take to be able to accomplish their larger capital raise, but we want to get them that first tranche right away. So, who has questions, comments, concerns on this process? Because if you understand it, we're offering them a solution to their problem. And if you've properly given them these highlights, then you probably will have overcame 99%, maybe 99.9% of the objections. Because normally what would people say? Well, what's this going to cost me? Hey, there's no upfront cost. Don't worry about that. Oh, I'm not going to qualify because my credit's shitty. Well, no worries. Everyone's going to get at least one offer. And then if your credit's not so good, we can help you improve it afterwards. Well, how much am I going to get? I don't know. We're going to fill it out. I know everyone's going to get at least one offer. People can get over $250,000 on the first tranche. Once you get your first tranche, we're going to work with you to build your loan package to get the larger capital raise. Let's give it a try. So, with that being said, what objections are you facing? Because if any of you are affiliates and you're not generating material income as an affiliate, which means you're not helping many people, I want to find out today why that is. And it's either you don't have prospects, and yesterday we talked about how we can build a sales funnel to resolve that. So that was yesterday's discussion. Or you're just not very good, not very effective at communicating the proposition, which is what we're attempting to address today. So for all of you, we're on January 7th. I know we're only a week into January, but it's a new month, a new year. So for those of you that are not very active, respond in the Q&A, please. Why? Is it because you don't have leads or you're not good at the pitch? What we've gone through today is the pitch. So Amanda, I'd have to check your numbers, but I don't think you have any conversions. Is it you don't have leads or you don't have a good pitch? Aziz, Carla, Charles, we have 535 of you, so I don't want to list everyone's name, but just take a moment to respond into the Q&A, the question and answer of Zoom. It's like chat box. What's the problem of you making money as an affiliate? Is it you don't have leads? We should be able to address that. We covered that in yesterday's training with the sales funnel. Or is it that you're not really very good at explaining to the leads, which is essentially what we've covered today? Because it's really those two variables, right? Either you don't have leads or the leads you have, you're not working properly. Do any of you think that this might help you close more of your leads? Or do you have a different system that you'd want to share with us? But I think this will work well. Pre-qualify them either directly or indirectly. Are you needing funding to start or grow a business? Or the Amanda model, do you know anyone needing funding to start or grow a business? Explain to them just very briefly at a high level the proposition. Let's get you a free funding proposal. There's no reason you wouldn't want to do it. Let me tell you a few of the highlights. You can go through those. Maybe you don't want to list all of those, but if you go through these, they're designed really to overcome most objections, most obstacles that you would face. The other question they might ask you is, well, Corinthian, what's my interest rate going to be? And the answer is, I don't know. We need to go through. We'll get you offers. You accept the ones you want. If you don't like the interest rates, you don't like the terms, then you don't accept it. But we need to get you into the system to get you offers. Amanda says cost is an obstacle. Well, in our model, there's no upfront cost. We do charge a performance fee, and that's how we pay you. So we charge clients a 10% performance fee after they're funded, and 5% of that goes to you as an affiliate. Everyone gets at least one offer, and I have some of you, like Cameron, saying you have two clients that didn't get an offer. I mean, that's impossible. You need to definitely text us, Cameron, or anyone. If you think that you've submitted anyone in that got zero offers, respectfully, you're wrong. You're wrong. Everyone gets at least one offer. So it's an education, it's a clarity, it's an understanding issue, frankly, between you and us, because everyone gets at least one offer. Now, what are the terms of the offer? What is the amount? It varies. The stronger the prospect, the more credible they are, of course, the more offers. You take someone like let's take Kenneth. We get three Kenneths on, but take Kenneth or Lamy or Michael. A lot of you would get probably 100,000 or 200,000 or more of offers, but not everyone's as strong as you. So everyone's going to get what they qualify for initially. Then we're going to go through and help them build out their business legally and ethically to qualify for the larger capital raise. And they might say, well, how does that happen? That sounds too good to be true. Well, no. Do you understand the formula for funding? We need to have an entity that's fundable. And if they don't have that, we can provide them that with the free shelf corp. And then we need to build out the three C's, which is what we do in what we call the access to capital program, which happens after they get their funding offers. So if you take the time to understand it and you have leads and you follow our guidance here, I think you'll do really well. Some of you, it's a financial issue. I think some of you were not able to meet your financial expectations, and that's a very valid reason. If we go down here a little bit farther, as a nonprofit, we we don't have the ability to get you the type of money that a lot of companies could, but we can get you 5,000 minimum per participant. So you pay nothing as an affiliate. You refer them in your landing page, follow this process as long as they participate, which it'd be illogical not to. You're going to make at least 5,000. So, how much time do you have to invest to get that? How much expense? Literally next to no time and certainly no investment. So you're only making 5,000 a deal. Now that's on the low end. Of course, a lot of our clients are pursuing a higher capital raise of 1 million. So at that point, you're making 50,000 per participant, but it's going to be at least 5,000. If you did one a day, just using that as a rough number, then you're looking at right about 25,000 weekly, right about 100,000 a month. For some of you, I guess that 100,000 a month's not enough worth your time. I guess you're doing better than that now. But uh, it's a good process. It's legitimate. It's credible. I think the problem that most people are having is one of two issues. Either you don't have leads, and we've addressed that yesterday. You can go back and see yesterday's training on the sales funnel. So we can flood you with leads. So that's option number one, or scenario one, where there's a problem. Scenario two is you're just not very good at working the leads. And that's what we've attempted to show you today. I see Solji's mentioning that his leads have doubt. Well, we should be able to alleviate any doubt that anyone has based upon the outcome, right? What do they need to do? They don't have to spend any money. They don't have to really do anything but follow your lead, fill out the form, which ends up being this application, and allow us to get them offers. And they're going to qualify, they're going to get whatever offers they qualify for. And at that point, I don't think they could have any doubt because, the stronger they are, the more offers they're going to get. So I'm not saying everyone's going to get 250,000. Everyone will get at least one offer, but they'll get whatever they qualify for initially. So that should make them happy, and that makes you money. And then at that point, then we can go ahead and then build out their loan package for the larger capital raise, which is where you can make a lot of money. So with that being said, that's the message we wanted to share. And I didn't want to be so strong, but a couple of you have said, and these aren't my words, they're some of yours, is you essentially make the prospect almost look stupid for not giving it a try. Because if they've got a problem, you want them to acknowledge or even verbalize, yes, I'm looking for money to start or grow a business. Or, yes, I know of others that need money to start or grow a business. Hit them with the highlights, which should alleviate any objections or obstacles, and then immediately move them forward, get them your link. If you can, be proactive, be engaged with them, send them your landing page, which you all should have. The landing page automatically converts over to the proposal. In less than 5 minutes, they filled it out. And again, I know a lot of you are busy with other work and family and so much, but so forth. But if you could make at least $5,000 for spending, I don't know, what would it take? 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the most? Do you really not have 15 minutes to start earning this type of income? All right. Well, with that being said, that's our message today. If there's anything that we can help you with, let us know. For Cameron and anyone that thinks they did not get any offers, that's wrong. That's a misunderstanding. We need to get at that. So text us, anyone that you think that didn't get any cash, didn't get any offers. Again, the type of offers they'll get will vary from client to client. But if you think you submitted in anyone that didn't get any offers, text us right away and let us resolve that, because that should never happen. The model is designed where everyone gets at least one offer. The model is designed where everyone is guaranteed a minimum of 100,000 capital raise. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Have a good day. Bye-bye.